And we are live. Hey, brothers, live here again. We are here with the lovely Julia Song. Well, I can't really say
Hey
we
guys, what's up?
because I'm by myself. I'm solo right now. My brother's going to be late, and I didn't know how late he was going to be. So, yeah, we're going to get started here, regardless. So,
Or I would wait for him.
say what?
We'll wait for him. He can just hop in.
He can just hop in.
Keep it casual.
We'll see. We'll see. He shouldn't be too long. He shouldn't be too long. But regardless, how you doing tonight, Julie?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am great.
How's everybody?
I am great. I am great. Got you on here tonight to just basically
So
to talk to you about because we know you're from
you
Brazil,
got
right?
yeah, you got me on here to get me triggered.
Ah, I got you on to get you
That's what
triggered.
I from this. Yeah,
Oh,
and I was
oh.
pretty triggered today,
Seriously?
actually, honestly. Yeah, should we talk about that?
Go ahead.
And then you can tell me what you think about it. So today I made a tweet that everybody was going crazy about, in which I talked about the fact that people, elected officials, who actually support socialism and want to push the social agenda should have to testify in front of Congress. And if they actually were to tell, you know what, I support socialism fully for America, and that's what I'm going to work for, then they should be jailed. That's what I think they should do. Just take those people to jail because they're enemies of this country. That's treason. And so people got triggered. They didn't like it. But what do you think?
Hey, you've seen the stuff before. I've never seen it in person. You know more about it than I do. Now, me, I don't like tyranny. Anything that's got to do with tyranny, anybody that has tyrannical ties or tyrannical ideas, I think they should be disposed of, if that's the nicest way to say it. I guess you can say it like that. I think they should be sent off somewhere and just leave us alone.
Absolutely.
That's what I really think.
They what they do is that they come up with this new additional terms for it every now and then. So they're like, oh, first it's communism, then it's socialism. Let's not call it communism because communism can't achieve it. So let's call the attempt socialism. And then socialism got a bad rap. So now they're like, oh, let's call it democratic socialism. And they don't even understand that democracy has nothing to do with
Exactly.
socialism. And it's just putting perfume on a pile of crap.
Exactly. So look, let's start off by this. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, how you came to be, how you got into the political scene and all that. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Oh boy, that's like a huge story. I probably have to write a book, but we got a little bit of time, so I'll try to go over it real quick. So basically, my mom was a campaign attorney for the Conservative Party. So I have been around politics forever. Like I remember being very young and being in rallies and talking to people and being amongst the folks. But then over time, we didn't realize it. And the Socialist Party took over in 2003. And that's very funny. Let me know if I'm speaking too fast, if I'm going Ben Shapiro on people. But basically, the Socialist Party took over, and we thought they were going to be nice because they're all about the people, right? And Senator Warren talked about this the other day. She was like, AOC is about the people. Yeah, that's the talk that they talk, but it's not the walk that they walk. They're not going to be about the people anymore. And that's what she did. She didn't say it. The other day, she was like, I'm the boss now, something like that. And I think she said something like that.
Yep. That was
But
she went. She went to on the boss talk.
yeah, and then I remember being really young and seeing how things were bad and hoping, right? I was like, things will be better. Next year, something's going to happen. Next year, things are going to change, like new year, new me. And time after time after time again, things were just going bad. And then we realized something very important. common. All these years, 16 years, the Socialist Party is country, but I'm not voting for them. Are you voting for them? Are you voting for them? No, I'm not voting. How are they still in there? So we began a movement. We found out all kinds of corruption going on, and that's what people don't understand. Big governments equals big corruption equals big bureaucracy does not equal efficiency. It just doesn't. Bureaucracy is just parts of the government. The bigger you make the government, the bigger. So we discovered all of those things, and we were like, we have to get these guys out of here before anything bad happens, before they absolutely do something that, there's no turning back. So movement started, lots of protests in the streets. Where I live is a very, very poor area. So it's where I guess socialists hit with the most strength. And it was mostly impacted by their policies because we were already poor. So when the country became poorer, then things just, became tenfold in my area. But we were still enslaved by the state of welfare that they put in. They put a lot of effort into the state of welfare in my area. People kept voting for them. So, anywho, we started a lot of protests, and in São Paulo, which is more like towards the central area of the country, there were some days a million people in the streets. In my movements that I helped participated in, I helped organize in, only gather about 100,000 people, but that's still a lot. The way that Brazil works is very different than most countries when it comes to the way that it's set up politically. And just right, the military, the judicial power, the legislative is just different than America, is different than Venezuela. And that's where our luck was. So once the people realized that, for example, the president, the socialists, they had the executive power, but they didn't have any of the other powers. So once the other powers realized that the people were backing them up, then they started to push against the executive power, and that's when we got the president impeached. And one thing that people don't realize is that after we investigated her president, she knew she was going to be impeached. The day before the articles came out about her impeachment, the beginning of the impeachment process because of her corruption, she invited the captain, the commander of the army, into her office, and she asked to support her in case she wanted to establish a dictatorship. And he told her to butt off, basically. And once she realized that she didn't have the army, then she backed off of the idea of implementing a dictatorship, from becoming Venezuela. So
Wow.
should I keep going, or are you tired of me? Should I just roll on? I'm on a roll.
Wow.
Can I continue?
Wow. Wow. So
Do you
so
want to
wait a
ask me
minute.
something?
So all right. She wanted to implement a full dictatorship. That was the plan.
Absolutely, but then the history of the army is the army has always been very conservative. In fact, the army took over power long time ago, I think maybe 50 years ago, because of the rising of communism in Russia. And the army realized that we didn't have a strong enough president to keep communism from taking over in Brazil. So the army was like, all right, we'd rather take over power than actually give it to communists. So the army was like, no, 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 we're not going to do this. So there's a long history of the army fighting communists in Brazil, and they're very conservative as an institution. And those are the best years of the country. All the infrastructure that we have, all the economic growth, all the, high levels of public safety, all of those things people remember from the time where the military was the one that was fighting the communists. Once the communists took
Okay.
over in 2003, things just went off rails. But here's the thing though, um, I thought that when I moved into America, uh, I was free, right? I thought America would never fall for those things. There were so many signs leading up to that crap, so many signs. there's the indoctrination in schools, there's the indoctrination in the TV, in the media, in the entertainment. It's just cool to be a socialist. And 100 million people died because of this ideology. Just how terrible is that? 100 million people died, probably much more than that if you count Venezuela now.
Exactly.
But you see, I come here and I'm thinking, I'm gay. I don't have to get involved in politics ever again. The things that I went through to fight that government over there, it was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. We had to do all the things because they wanted to hold on to their power so
Yeah.
much. They didn't want people to congregate. They didn't want people to communicate. They didn't want anything. And so I moved here and I'm like, I'm done with that. I'm free. And then I started listening to the talk. I started listening to Hillary Clinton. I started listening to all this. I'm like, where did I see that before? Oh shit. I had to get involved. I had to say something. I had to, absolutely.
So you look pretty young, obviously. Obviously you're pretty young.
Hmm.
So how old were you when all of this was going on in Brazil? Like you had to be like very young at the time.
So I'm 25 right now, actually. And I was about 18, 19. Pretty young, yeah. But I would have to say, and what people don't realize is that there's a huge amount of uh, key things that lead up to these individuals taking power that is not just based on them. It's the people thinking it's cool. It's the people thinking they're on the side of the people. It's the other side of the political spectrum doing nothing. The other side just rolling over. All of these things help these guys take control. If they do take control, things are bad. They're bad.
Wow. So what was the thing that most people like attached to in Brazil that basically drew them to that type of government? Like what was the big thing that they were so drawn to?
I think that there's two things that we have to really be careful about. First, the idea of income inequality and economic growth being associated with socialism, which is just bullshit. It just doesn't exist at all. And also the idea of democratic socialism. So, what we thought was, hey, we've had capitalist presidents, we've had the military, we've had all kinds of people, we had a freaking emperor. How about we give those guys a shot? How about we just give them a shot and we can vote them out at their full age? We can vote them out, right? Mm-mm-mm. We had to actually go to the streets and literally fight the government to get them out. And the reason why we managed was because of the way that the country was set up and all of its institutions were set up. For example, the judge that actually led the effort to impeach the
Hmm.
president only got his job because he actually passed the test. He was not appointed to that position. Nobody appointed him because they liked him. He actually had to go pass a test between many other judges, and he turned out to be the best. So he couldn't be bought. He got to that position through his own merits. So he couldn't be
Okay.
bought.
Okay. Wow.
That's why people are like, Venezuela can just be free of it. Uh, I don't know because Venezuela is not like Brazil. Actually, the higher people in there are appointed by Maduro and they support
Yeah.
him. So how can the army turn on him? Right? They're hoping that the lower people in the army are gonna turn on him. But in a socialist government, the biggest employer is the government. Where are these people? If these people defect from the army, where are they going to go? How are they going to feed their families? They have
Exactly.
kids, and so they're going to be followed. They're going to be chased. Probably their communications is probably very low. They cannot gather. They cannot get together. As I think I read somewhere that they cannot get together as a group to
Hmm.
talk. They're very monitored, and if they try to leave, they're either going to get killed or they're going to die of famine. So how's its own army going to do anything? It's just such a bad situation to be in. And us as a country, we can do something about it before we get there.
Nice, 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 nice. So the parallels that you see between the two, the things that you saw in Brazil and the things that you see now that indicate that we're going that way in a very quick manner. Like it's like in the past, what, 3 or 4 years is like it's sped up. It's sped up. So
Yeah,
what do you use? What's the warning signs?
well, I think that they work very hard, for example, to make sure that the kids believe that this ideology is cool. Because if they do believe in it, then in 3 or 4 years, like they're going to be voters. So they have to take control of the schools. How do they do that? The school boards are made of elected officials. So Democrats have been putting a lot of money towards winning in school board elections so that they can push their own curriculum. Now you can talk about the feds having their own major curriculum that they have to stick to. However, for example, when it comes to history, you can pick a book that is leaning towards the left or the leaning towards the right. And the more you pick books and things like that and create classes that lean towards the left and add additional things to the curriculum, the more you're brewing socialists into the state. Like I was talking to this lady the other day, and she was telling me that her kid was forced to take a leadership class. And in this leadership class, they did nothing but talk about socialist BS and gender equality and this and that, and how being a leader equals being, all the things that the Conservative Party does not agree with.
Huh?
So it's just very scary
What
to
does that have to
see
do with
and to know that
leadership?
these kids are going to be voting. They try to hide it in ways that is not obvious. So for example, a parent that's not actually looking into what their kids are learning is gonna think that a leadership class is great, but what is actually being taught to the kids, that's what matters.
Wow, that's crazy though. You got a leadership class that basically is a gender studies class instead. That's real dangerous. But I guess that's what they do. I mean, like Hitler said, if he had the kids,
Gender
it didn't matter to him what the adults did. It didn't matter. As long as he had the kids, he had an army already built up. So if you can indoctrinate the children, you got it in the bag.
And another thing that they did as well that I'm very worried about is putting people against each other. So basically, the as they make the government bigger, as the government becomes more corrupt, as the government becomes such a huge thing, they don't want people looking at it. They don't want people seeing the monster that it's becoming. So what do? They push people, groups of people against each other all the time. So now you're just fighting each other and you're too busy fighting each other to the point where you don't even bother what the government is doing. You're too busy literally killing each other
Yep.
and not relating to your neighbors anymore. They make people so individualized that I'm an individual, I'm a person, but when it comes to community, we're all the same. We all have our responsibilities to the community. We all add, and that's about it. We're all Americans, right?
Oh yeah.
What they do is make people, oh, Julie is a cisgender female immigrant, this and that, and they divide me into such a small box that nobody else fits into my box. So now I'm fighting everyone else who might be of opposite boxes, of who might be trying to take my rights away from me. But then I'm not looking at what the government is doing, right?
Exactly. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. As long as they can keep us fighting each other,
Absolutely.
they can do stuff in the background and we won't notice it, or they keep us entertained, keep us with entertainment or fighting, twerk videos. Yeah. Keep us distracted.
Yeah, it's that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep us distracted in fact, and it's just very concerning because you just learn to first it's like, oh, I can't really trust this person anymore. And I feel like that's half the country right now. The left can't relate to the right, and sometimes even vice versa. We can't relate to those people because they're too busy fighting each other. cannot relate to ideas. And I think the right is doing a little bit better than that, but that's because just the environment that I'm in, right? They might see the opposite as we're not interacting with them at all. And I think that we're seeing that, and it's going to get worse. You know, what they're doing is this narrative that you are the reason why things are the way they are. You are the reason for my misfortune. So if you, for example, if we're talking about poverty, you are the reason why I'm poor. It's not the government, it's not their policies, it's not what they're doing in there. It's you, my neighbor. It's this person who maybe has $5 more than I do. He's the reason why I don't have $5. It's because it's in his pocket. So let me go
Okay.
fight him. Let me go get that $5 because I am entitled to that $5. So they're trying to say that the right is the one that's at fault for climate change,
Yeah.
for this. I'm not at fault for anything. They're talking about reparations. What do you think about
What do I think about
reparations?
reparations? I think it's a bunch of garbage. I feel like if they really wanted to, especially with black people, you really wanted to do something, you should have done it back right after slavery ended. You can't come up freaking almost 200 years later and then talk about, yeah, we need some money for stuff that happened 150, 175, 200 years ago. It doesn't work. You weren't there. I wasn't there. Everybody here is mutts now. Everybody's mixed with some of everything. So what percentage of you would have to pay and what percentage would receive? Like, you can't calculate that out. It's ridiculous. It's just a way to basically say, yeah, we're gonna come give y'all stuff that y'all deserve just so we get in line and vote for the Democratic Party again, like we've been doing for the past 60 years.
And what do you think that, and I'm asking you because I'm trying to learn a little bit, what do you think that makes it so appealing for certain groups of people to vote for the Democrats? I know that there's the Black community, there's the Hispanic community, there's a lot of these communities that is voting for the Democrats.
You kind of broke up at the end. I ain't hear the last part.
Oh, so I'm like thinking, what are the reasons why the minorities still vote for
Oh,
Democrats?
because like in the past, like the Democrats decided, well, instead of just trying to kill folks off, we're gonna give them stuff, and then basically in the long run, we're gonna make them dependent. So now, when you had Lyndon Johnson, you had the Great Society, you had the civil rights bills that were passed or whatever. Black people, we felt like basically the government was giving us something. The government was finally helping us out, not realizing that the government was really borrowing us from owning
Mhm.
things, from basically getting married. If a woman got married, she couldn't get any welfare no more. If she did get married, she would lose all of her money. If she didn't get married, she could keep all of her money. If she got married, she could keep all of her money. If she didn't get married, she would lose all of her money. So basically,
Hey, your
getting
internet's cutting
the
off. I can't hear
financial
you.
benefit.
Oh, there you go. Wait, I think I'm live alone. Am I live alone? That is possible. So we'll just wait here. If we're live, and we'll just see how it goes. If we're not, then I'm just talking by myself and just making a fool out of myself. But then if I am, then maybe it's not how it is. I wonder if my internet is bad too. Probably not. I haven't really gotten the notice. I every time I do these videos, I get this notice because my modem is so far from. Hey, you're
There we
back.
go. It cut me out. But yeah,
Was I live while you're out?
I think so.
I was just talking. Okay. Hi guys.
What I miss?
I was just talking about my internet, how the modem is far from this room, so I really get terrible internet. It's just going off.
Wow. Yeah, my modem blew up. So I got a whole lot of issues with my internet right now. So yeah, that's great. But yeah, like I was saying, basically they promised black people a whole lot of stuff. They promised minorities a lot of things. They gave us enough to feel like we were getting something out of the deal. And then basically they forget about us for a while. And then every 4 years they come back and say, hey, we need your vote. And we vote for them because we feel like they're giving us something. And now it's to the point we don't even know why we vote for them. We vote for them out of tradition. Because mama voted for them,
Yeah,
grandma voted for them, so I'm supposed to vote for them.
yeah, that's very interesting. And I saw that happen in my area where since we were so poor, what they did is that they avoided doing anything that caused economic growth. All they did was give us welfare. So all we had is that $200 check for each child or for each whatever. So we had 200
Yep,
bucks in the bank every
yep.
month. And then what happened was though their policies caused inflation. So if with $200 today to buy a month's worth of groceries, then tomorrow I can buy anything for a few days. The price of a meat is like $40. The price of milk is even $20. So you can't really get anywhere with those $200 anymore. And that's what I think about the whole
Exactly.
thing with Andrew Yang is like he's trying to offer people $1,000, but those $1,000 will be worth a penny if he does that. So I don't want his $1,000. Thanks. I can work for that in an economy that's actually going to allow me to have jobs.
Exactly, exactly. Now, the American dream was built on basically entrepreneurship. You work and you can grow. You work and you can grow. If you accept the money that the government is giving you, you can never progress. You can never go higher than that. So you accept that and then you stay in that state. So it's basically a small state of socialism. Like, yo, this is what you get, this is what you've earned, and this is all you get. You can't go any farther. You can't make any more as long as you stay in that system. Now, if you get out of that system, the potential of wealth and the potential of the money that you can make is basically endless. It's endless. But as long as you stay in that
Yeah,
system,
and then
you will always be stagnant and stale with no growth at all. And it breeds laziness and it breeds mediocrity, in my opinion.
absolutely. And what they do with the socialized systems in the first place is that it makes that fail, I think. First, they do with the welfare system, and then they do things like taking over education, taking over things that they know nothing about, and just start
Oh,
pushing those things
I
down
think
our
I hear
throats. And
Joel coming. There you go. He made it.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
What's up? What the piss happened to you?
Hey man, life happened, man.
Good God.
How late?
You're real late. Like, we're 40 minutes in.
Oh my God.
We started 10 minutes late, though.
I'm so sorry, man. Life happened. Julie, what's up?
What's
What's
up?
good? What we been discussing here? Like, I'm mad late, man.
Socialism
Update
and how it keeps people poor.
and how I keep people poor.
Yeah. And she was talking about how cool, man. She cool, man.
I've
What's
never
up?
I've never related to anything as much as I related to that in my life. Life happened to me. It's like mood. Like everyday life happened to me.
So then you like overthrow an oppressive government or something? Isn't
Yeah,
that
she
your
talked
story?
about that. She was like 18 when she did it. I was like,
Word.
damn, she a beast.
So what's wrong with us? Why are we so weak? Why are we so weak? Is it the beta male? Are we
Oh,
just
God,
beta
don't
males?
say, why did you do that? And that she triggered again.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, see, I can't. Oh my God. Don't hurt me, please.
I'm trying to I'm trying to remember what it said. They're putting chemicals in the water that's turning the freaking frogs gay. And that's why we have
It's
so many
atrazine. It's atrazine.
women.
It's turning the frogs gay. Yeah. Yeah, that atrazine. Yeah. I did look at that. That junk's legit though, but you know. Was I not supposed to say beta?
We already work for Alex Jones, so you can't say that.
Yeah.
Apparently, me and him, we work for Alex Jones now.
Yeah. Someone said we work for Alex Jones. I guess that's a bad thing.
So Alex owes me some money, apparently.
InfoWars owes us money.
So you guys operative.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
InfoWars operative.
No, she said she put up a post today. I saw it on Instagram when she was on there talking to some dude, and she was like betas, and I was like, dang. But she talked about it at the beginning.
Word.
Yeah.
Oh, you call somebody a beta?
Yeah, because they're freaking betas. That's what they are. It's a sad day when a 5 foot tall woman has more balls than a man. It's a sad day.
Dang. That's actually becoming more. That's actually becoming more of like the norm. Women like having more testosterone than men.
More testicular fortitude.
Yes, the testicular fortitude than men, than actual men. That's kind of a scary thing, but it's becoming more common than not. Yeah.
That's why men ain't having no kids no more. The balls too small.
That is why men are not having kids anymore. There was like a study that said men are not like having sex anymore. Yeah, like that's crazy. Like that makes no sense to me. They're having more fun watching pornography than actually engaging.
They don't know how to talk to women.
It's sad, That's a part. Is that the atrazine as well that's making men not want to like procreate?
Yeah, I think that people are, just like digital type of dating. It's like people just know how to date through the internet. To stop, like they feel like women are gonna bite them.
Interesting.
I bet she doesn't even get hit on when she goes anywhere now, but they scared to.
I mean, people that know her probably don't.
Yes.
Oh, that's the case.
Super true. That is super true. Super true. It's sad.
Maybe you're too intimidating. You intimidate them too much. They don't know what to do.
Well, what can I
do? I would be intimidated. If we talking and you telling me you overthrow a whole government, I'm like, look, what's gonna happen to like? Let's say we go all the way here and we like get married and everything. Like, you gonna overthrow my household?
Why are you smoking cigars?
Why are you smoking? Oh my god! That cigar was like that thing was freaking ridiculous, man. I was like,
it was thick.
It was what?
Do you want to know something? It was thick with a double Q.
Oh snap!
But she smoked the whole thing though. Like,
she did.
I would be intimidated too. I ain't gonna lie,
You're the one that noticed the thickness of it, though. I wasn't even thinking about it. You're the one that noticed how like phallic it looked.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, she was holding the thing like this. she was like, it was freaking ridiculous. I have never seen a cigar that big, but I mean, I guess
we were having a serious show before you came in here.
I'm so sorry. I'm so freaking sorry. Like, I've ruined it. It's gonna everything.
Happen again.
I ruined everything. What?
It's gonna happen again. Let's go, and then we'll all get thickness.
What? No. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna just shut up. I'm gonna sit here and shut up because I came in. I missed everything. I didn't want anyone to have to recap anything.
Oh my god.
So I'm just gonna shut up.
Nice.
It's gonna be fun. You have to watch it when we're done. But so I figured I would tell you guys like maybe a couple of fun stories about how it was to actually fight it, and then we can go back to the other subjects that we're talking about, like the America thing.
Run it.
America thing.
Run it. She came on, took over the show. Run it.
Okay. So some of the things that I had to go through was, for example, they would know, like they would see us planning the protest, and I was talking about get like 100,000 people to show up at this protest, and the government will know what we're doing, and they would send people. So they have their own little group, little, I guess, group that works for them. It's almost like a terrorist group of people that they pay, and that just does their agenda, or not against their agenda, against the people,
Mm.
towards their agenda, folks, to get into the protest and start assaulting people from the inside. One of the protests that we did, the government literally ordered all the businesses within the of the protest to close. So this was like the middle of the day. People were walking, and there was no water. And this is like by
Mm.
the equator line, right? The asphalt, and it was out, and to start out and not have any place to buy water, to buy food, to buy anything. This was a whole day kind of thing.
Wow.
So I started noticing there were some signs of commercial establishments, and some people were peeping out. So I started knocking on those doors, and I was like, "Hey guys, I know you're a commercial establishment. Would you please open your doors? There's people passing out here. There's people who want to buy water. We're not trying to steal. We're not trying to do anything. We're trying to buy water. So we're trying to move your business." And they were like, "We can't open. We're afraid what the government's gonna do to us. We can't do anything." And I was like, "Please, like, look outside. There's people actually sick from all this." So they were like, "All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open about this much of the
Mm.
gate, and everybody that wants to come in can crawl underneath. And inside, we're gonna be open. We're gonna put our lights on. We're gonna do everything, but they have to crawl through the gate to get in." And it was like very, very small, and we'll get caught on the gate, and we're starting to like tell people. But how you do tell 100,000 people, right? You don't speaking
Wow.
out who needs it the most to crawl underneath. And all the time the guy was like, I gotta close it, I gotta close it, they're gonna catch me, they're gonna find me. I was like, no, 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 no. And then he was closing the gate even further because he didn't want to get caught, right? So these are some of the things that you go through when you have this government. What I mean by fighting it is not actually picking arms against the government. We couldn't, because in 2003 they took away our guns,
Mm.
and we actually fought it. We were like, no, 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 no. We like our guns. We like them. So we forced the government to do a referendum, and they did it because they thought that their side was going to come out victorious. But it turns out that actually the result of the referendum was Brazilian people want their guns back. They never gave us our guns back. So there's no way for us to fight
Wow.
this government other than just, taking the shitty side of it.
Mm.
Wow.
It
So
was
they you
fun.
actually won, but they decided not to give him back anyway, huh?
It's like Brexit.
Exactly.
Wow. See, no, see, they're right there. That's why. This is why.
That would
This
not
is
go well.
exactly why that would not go well here, especially down here in the South. That would not go well at all. You are not gonna get people to turn in guns, and if you do, the rednecks gonna shoot everybody.
Did you say it was like a buyback program or something? Or
Like, how did they get them to turn them in?
No, no, they just get them to turn them in. It's illegal. If you're found with them, there. The police actually looks for them. So when you're like driving out, if the police catches you with a gun in your car, or if the police knows of a gun in your house, they come for that gun.
wow.
Wow, so they actually did
It's illegal. It's
seizures.
absolutely illegal for you to have a gun. Yes, absolutely. And then you see guys like the Eric's. I don't know his last name, and I'm terrible with last names. Eric
Oh
Swanson
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Eric, yeah.
He was telling people the other day that if you do not want to give away your guns, the government has nukes, and this guy
Oh
is
yeah.
running for president.
That ticked me off too. Eric Swalwell, he did say that a while back. You know
What he said
about
now?
how the gun. He was like,
Oh, you talking about when he said, yeah, the government got freaking
nukes.
nukes.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
nuke you. They are not gonna nuke them. No,
It makes no sense.
they're not
But
gonna do
that
it.
type of talk, you
Yeah,
know,
it shows you where their mindset is. Like,
Yeah.
we're all powerful, and
And
you're
it
gonna
scares
do what we
people.
say to do.
that's like a like a bootleg threat, dude. You know they're not gonna do
So-
it, but some people believe it.
So you mean to tell me the police actually came and took the guns, and no police got shot?
No, no, but this is what they did though. They did a conscious effort, year after year, of teaching people that guns are bad, that violence is bad, that violence is something
Oh,
for,
okay.
whatever, for fascists. So people didn't want to be involved with guns as much,
Same thing
right?
they're
People
trying to do
didn't
here.
exactly. So
Change the
you see
mindset,
people
get
doing
people to
with
hate them, and
guns
then they will give them up willingly, basically.
Wow.
what they're doing with the cigarette industry, right? Whatever, it was fun, it was nice. Everybody wanted to have a cigarette hanging off their lips. Now it's like kind of like I don't like that. And
Mm.
that's what they're trying to do with guns. And that I'll probably share with you guys. So I have to find. I think his name is Eric holding for the government, and he made that exact point that they're trying to make a conscious effort to make guns not full stop buying them and make the job of the government. So it's not about what they're going to do right now, but I do wonder what they're going to do in 20 years from now, right?
Yeah.
If they have, let's say, 70% of the population on their side, if they manipulated 70%, like the Gen Z, a big part of the Gen Z is, says that socialism is
Mm.
good. So if they do to the point where the majority doesn't give a crap about guns, then we have an issue there. But we do only need 3%, right? The initial revolution in this country was only made out of
Mm.
3%. So we only need 2% of people to keep their guns, and we're gonna win.
Wow. So I'm assuming you like guns. You have any guns?
Yes.
She don't need no guns. She's a freaking like black belt.
Well,
Look at her.
I
She
got
a
this.
black
Oh, no. She put out the pythons, dog.
No, but that is interesting though. Like, I don't.
We're gonna have to help you get some guns.
Yeah. Can you not have them or something? Is that what it is? Like you don't
I
have to say
actually
just
do
not
have
once or blink or something if you are unable to.
even in Brazil, I tried to do some shooting classes, right? So this shooting classes, there are shooting ranges, but they mostly offer classes for like military and police. But individual citizens can, especially if they're going for sports. But it's just so complicated for you to even go to the shooting range that most people don't do it. But I went through the process anyway, and apparently you have to go through all kinds of applications with the army to make sure that they know that you have a gun in your car, because if the police stops you and you do have a gun in your car and you have to have it all split up and locked and whatnot, and if you do happen to have it in your car, you have to have all kinds of paperwork that takes forever from the army to let you know that you're only transporting from the shooting range to the shooting store.
Are you
You're not
serious?
really, and it has to be a reason for you doing it for sports only, like
Oh
you
shoot, I'm out
you
there. We in North Carolina. We're in North Carolina. You're a citizen, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get you a gun.
I am. No, I actually do have. I'll post some pictures.
Oh, you do have one.
I I do have
Oh.
one. It was funny the other day. I was going to this convention. I have more than one, but the government will never know I
Ah.
have.
Well, you ain't got more than me, so.
I was going to this true, true. I was going to this convention in this public building. It was actually not the public building itself, but right beside it. I think it kind of was still the same building, but it wasn't a part of the main building,
Yeah.
whatever. But it said at the door, no guns. So I thought they were going to do some kind of X-ray, whatever. So I had to go through my purse, and I was like, all right, I gotta take this off, I gotta take this off, I gotta take
Mm.
this off. I was just like collecting all kinds of stuff that I was taking off of my purse. But
She
it was
coming there like
fun.
Neo in the Matrix, man. Just open her coat up. She got grenades over here and the machete hanging down there. AK over there, AR down there. Yeah.
That is crazy.
And then I pull like a whole AR-15 out.
A whole
It's kind of that.
AR-15.
I always have
Like,
to end up going back to the car, man. I go somewhere and I'm like, I don't care. And then they got metal detectors and I have to go take it back. If they don't have no metal detectors, I'm not taking it off.
Yeah.
That's the only time I take it off.
I have so many things on me all the time. I went through this. It's hard to take them all off. So I went through this public building with it one time, and it was just like I took most of it off, but I forgot the magazine, right? I forgot a magazine,
Yeah.
and so I went to the X-ray machine, and they were like, "Ma'am, stop right there. Do you have something on you?" And I was like, "No, what's up?" And they were like, "Ma'am," and they were like freaking losing it, and I was like, "Dude, that's just a mag. You, what am I gonna do with this mag? I'm gonna like put the bullets and
Exactly.
start shooting them."
Exactly. I asked the lady, man, we went to a little convention last, like a couple weekends ago. And we was there, and the same thing. I took the gun out, left it in the car. Took my knife off, left it in the car. Everything else left in the car. Walked up to the thing, like same thing, magazine. She was like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a magazine." She was like, "What you doing with a metal magazine? What's that?" I was like, so I pulled it out and showed it to her. She was like, "Sir, you can't have that." Like, what you mean? She's like, "You can't have that." I was like, "The gun is in the car." She's like, "No, you still can't have it." I was like, "What am I doing? I'm just throw bullets at people?"
She thought, I mean, she probably thought you was gonna like straight shot put it or something.
She was like, "But you can have a gun stashed in the building." I was like, "When did you? No one saw me come here and stash nothing in the building. I'm just getting here. We don't know what you have stashed in the building, so you have to take it back." I was like, "Man, whatever."
So you can take it back, but whatever you had stashed in the building is fine. It's the fact that you
And then when I came back,
it in the building,
I went in through the side door where no security was. So if I had went back to the car like she told me and got my gun out and came back with the gun, no one would have saw me because I came back through the door where no security was at.
She was too busy like gracing in her authority that she thought she had.
I thought about when I got through the door. I thought about going
him.
back, getting my pistol and putting it on, and then going back in the building.
Yeah, she was like, I told him. Well, building goes up behind you.
Seriously, like really. This woman didn't even know what the magazine was when I said it. So how are you gonna protect anybody?
She thought you had Fortune 500 magazine or something.
And we have the right to bear arms.
Yeah, it didn't say you had the right to bear arms here, 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 and here, but not right there, because that place right there, you're safe already. No, it didn't make those type of a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What the piss do you think that means? Leave it alone.
Exactly.
Well, technically, that wasn't a arms. I guess that was just a.
Plus, I think if somebody actually stormed in there, they wouldn't be able to do anything.
Say what?
If somebody actually stormed in there with the intention to do something bad, they would do something bad anyway. They would jump that counter, they would jump those little tiny gates, and they would do whatever. So it's not really, it's a false sense of security on us to give away our liberties.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. You're gonna protect me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we think the cops supposed to come in. The cops get there to clean up the mess after it's already made.
Yeah. It's called fear mongering, just like you just talked about Air Swap a second ago. Like, I mean, if you say stuff like that, the ignorance of the people will allow them to pretty much just give up their rights. Like, okay, well, I'm ignorant. I don't know what's going on. So definitely, yeah, I'll let you take that. That's scary. We don't need that. That's why you don't need an AR-15. That's why you don't need an AK-47. That's why you don't need all these dangerous guns.
You know why I need it?
They cause problems, Chris.
You know why I need it? Bubba just said it. Bubba said on the chat, he said, you can't fist fight tyranny. You can't fist fight tyranny.
You shoot it.
They're not coming to you with hands. They're coming with bullets and at the barrel of a gun. That's where they're coming at. And if we don't have any guns to protect ourselves, we are going to be sheep. And sheep get slaughtered.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Julia. Those don't work.
No, exactly. I lived through that, and I saw how many times during this protest, and these protests are made of mainly like students. We were not thugs, we were not crazy people, we're just students, and they were opening fire on us, like real fire. I mean, in a way, how do you actually get rid of 100,000 people coming at you? How do you get rid of a million people coming at you? You don't. So they got rid of the crowd dispersion tools, and they actually started shooting actual bullets.
Wow.
They got they put in their tear gas things, and some people were throwing up, some people were feeling really really ill. Some people were jumping into private property, and some people who own those private properties were harboring the people to try to get them to, safety. But at some point, somebody yelled, they're shooting real bullets. And then the government later came and was like, hey, yeah, we're so sorry. We just weren't prepared. So we're going to be purchasing water cannons for next time. But then, you see people actually literally dying during these things. And we had nothing. We didn't have a gun. We didn't have nothing on our side. So, yes, you're correct. If 100,000 people gather on the streets and try to, show up in Washington, the police is not going to be able to stop them. So they're going they might use rubber bullets, but when it comes down to it, they probably just there at some point.
Wow. Well, today I forgot my rubber bullet, so let's put these leads in there. Whoopsies! When I forgot, I grabbed the magazine with the real bullets. I'm so sorry.
Oh my
Sir,
God.
I ventilated your body. I apologize for that.
And they just get away with that. That is ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? Who in their right mind gonna sit there and give somebody the option to shoot at them with no means to shoot back? How stupid do you have to be?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, they were just trampling each other. It was just a bad situation. It's just the crowd itself, because everybody was just trying to get out of the way, and they were running over each other. And so it's like, is the police here to protect the state, or is the police here to protect the people? Because the people are actually, taking the bad side of it.
Yeah. That's why I would hate to live in the city if something like kicked off.
Exactly.
I ain't letting nobody trample over me. I turn on people.
Live in the woods, man. Live in the woods. I'm about to start stashing that guns everywhere.
Heck, we have a good relationship with the bears and the deer and nature around here. I think they'll be on our side if anything kicks off. We'll have them on our side.
So, with you having seen this before, you've lived through it. How much time do you think we have?
I think I'm being like a little bit more pessimistic. I think that after Trump goes out, maybe we have, a few years of, maybe, in 10 years, we'll see a Bernie-like president. And it's going to be tough. But I think that, like, we talked about this in the beginning of the video, every country and the way that they're set up is different. So they respond to socialism
differently.
Very differently. It doesn't work, but some countries like Brazil, they're able to free themselves because of the way that they're set up. So the United States, and I talked about that in our rally that we went to, the pro-Trump rally. The United States is set up differently, where the founding fathers actually gave people the right to bear arms and the right to arm themselves. Have like how to do it. I think that it will be bad because it's a bad ideology that if they implement 10% of it, it's going to be terrible. However, people are going to fight back. We're just going to see a lot of setbacks, take years to recover. But I think that people are going to fight back. I don't think we're going to get to the point where Venezuela is, but we're going to get to a worse state than what we are today. Keep your guns away, because that's how they get you.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely never gonna get as bad as Venezuela. I think people will die here before they go as far as eating dogs and cats. So I think I don't think we'll go that far.
I hope not, man. But it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be an ugly situation. If we go down that road, it's going to be a bloodbath.
I'm not sure we're already going down that road. It's just like how far and when. But that's what I think.
You think?
Yeah, we didn't think it was gonna be bad in Brazil either, but it's just like one day it was like, bam.
Wow, really? That quick?
So yeah, it was just like that. They were in power for 16 years. So it's just that quick. It's the whole thing, like with democratic socialism. We think we can vote them in and vote them out. We can't. You can just vote them in, and that's it. Once they change your system, it's gone.
Wow.
That's a mouthful. That's a lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. It put it in perspective when you talk to somebody that's been through it, though. It's wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we're going to see that Venezuela is going to be one of the huge genocide histories or stories of genocide in history, and it's going to be bad. And I hope we learn a lot from that. But it concern me a little bit when I see people from the left saying that Maduro's regime is fine. Like it's definitely not, but they're defending it to an extent, and it's just like concerning to me. Like Bernie was defending Cuba. How many
Yeah.
people died in Cuba? How many people went through famine and all kinds of stuff in Cuba?
Hmm.
So if you guys think that eating fats is just really really out there, it's just it like the food and meat, it goes up through the roof. Like your money's worth nothing. There's so much inflation, and they're charging because they don't want businesses to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So they charge a lot of money to companies that manufacture products. So basically, the price of something just like that is going to go through the roof. Plus, you add on inflation, and the money that you have is worth nothing. And now a piece of steak like this is worth like $100. A piece of fish is worth $100, and then you get things like pets and dogs.
What?
Dang.
So obviously you've been like away out of Brazil for a while, so I don't know, I might have missed this, but has it changed a drastic amount since you have been there, or you're not really sure as far like as a financial sense, or just like generally the government as a whole, has it changed a lot since you've been there?
So what socialism, it changes for the worst. So for the worst. So as I left, I've been out of there for 5 years. And as I left, I was talking to people and they're telling me it's gotten worse, it's gotten worse, it's gotten worse. And to the point where my mom the other day, she was at home and she couldn't even leave the house. They told her she couldn't leave because the state of public safety was so bad that criminals were blowing up bridges, blowing up everything just because the governor said something about making the prisons more safe, right? More safe against people escaping, more safe against people were using cell phones, whatever. So the thugs didn't like that. And the reason why the thugs have so much power, much more power than the police itself, is because their businesses are not regulated. The businesses of good people, they're regulated by the states, but the drug businesses, all these different types of businesses, they're not regulated. They don't pay taxes, so they're the only ones that thrive. So people, if you want to make money, you try to get a job, it's going to be so hard because you have to pay, the employer has to pay so many bills for just hiring one person, so many a law for employment and things like that. They have to pay the unions, there's thousands of unions. So it becomes very difficult for a good person to employ you. Who can employ you? The person who has an illegal business, because they are making money like
Yeah.
crazy. They're not regulated, and they're just piling on
Mm.
cash. So you have these drug lords that have better, they can shoot down, and they have shot down police helicopters, army helicopters. So it got to the
Wow.
point where they were
Them jokers ain't
blowing up.
playing no game.
Wow.
It's like zombie land. And then the current president Jair Bolsonaro had to send the literally everybody in the National Guard to my hometown to try to pacify it. So now that we have Jair Bolsonaro, he's trying to basically clean the house. And my mom has told me that things are much safer. Like there's policing everywhere. She's using Uber. She's doing all kinds of things that before in my time I didn't
Mm.
see. So I feel very hopeful for right now and for the future, but it's just so hard to get the mass once they leave power.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of crazy though. Well, for a second there, I kind of was like, "Are we still talking about Brazil? Or are we talking about America?" We're talking about the companies actually, the bigger businesses, the businesses being able to, well, certain businesses being like, stifling because they can't really pay for. They have to pay for so many different things. I'm like, that sounds kind of like America. Small business getting hit with so many different taxes or whatnot.
But here's cronyism.
Yeah, it's chronic capitalism because then you have to worry about subsidizing too, like government subsidies being funded to certain businesses and certain companies,
and they ain't supposed to be doing
it.
it.
Exactly, and
free market. You that gonna basically now you giving people head starts and crap. Like, no, it's the free market. Let the people decide what's gonna thrive and what's not.
Exactly. But yeah, obviously that wasn't the case there.
No.
And it's not the case here anymore.
No. Nope.
So we are definitely not heading in the right direction on that note. But
and none of the
we can turn it around.
I don't know. Do you think we can turn it around before we hit the rocks?
Yeah.
Sure, I say yes.
Continue speaking up. Well, if we continue to speak up and we don't let the beta males have all this control that they do have, all this voice that they do have, if we're like, shut up, you're a beta.
Just shut up, right? Beta male, shut up. You gotta put the finger up on her. Shut up.
Drop the mic.
Just drop the mic on them. That's what's up.
No, I'm not doing
don't do that.
We paid for those.
There's no need for that. Don't do that.
We paid for those. I can't drop them.
You cover everything. You good?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we're good. We went about. That's an hour. We got an hour in.
Nice.
I think we had a nice stopping point.
Hey, look, this is completely like off topic. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to because I already ruined everything when I came in anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to ruin this while we're ending. Question. Okay, so we met this Brazilian guy. We was with this Brazilian guy like all weekend. Him and one of our other our chauffeur, I'll say, he took us to Harper's Ferry and we went to a baseball game and whatnot. Anyway, was hanging out with this Brazilian dude, and he told us that Brazilians live by the motto of do unto others before they do unto you. Is that true?
How's that? I'm sorry. Do unto others.
Do unto others before they do unto you. You know, most people say do unto others as you have them do unto you, which means like treat people the way you want to be treated. But he told us that Brazilians live by the motto do unto others before they do unto you. So basically, essentially, screw them before they screw me. Is that how you grew up?
It's a possibility because you see when you have a society that is focusing only on survival and they're focusing only we're talking about this a little bit. It was like the government puts groups of people against each other, so you're just focusing on surviving and fighting your neighbors to the point where your culture dissolves. So the culture, what is the culture of America? What do we even stand for anyway? We're having 11-year-old dancing on strip clubs. It's like our culture is basically dissolving. And once you dissolve your culture, you're going to have this type of things popping up where people just trying to take advantage of every little thing that they can to be ahead, because it's so hard to be ahead. So that's what it is. We have to fight for our culture.
Awesome. So I guess we don't have long before we start pissing on people's toilet papers before they go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's not.
That was so dirty. He told us he said people would just go in the bathroom and after they're dead, they would like turn around and urinate on the paper towel. I mean on the tissue just to screw the person that would come in after them. That may have been just his personal experience in the area that he was in, but that was kind of weird to me.
Sounds weird to me too.
Yeah, it was very weird. Yeah. He was a weird guy. To your cool people. To your defense, he was like what? He's like 50. He's like 50. He hasn't been in Brazil in like what 20 something, over 20 years. So yeah, I guess that was before your time when people were doing things like that low. You guys have gotten a lot better.
It's gotten worse, but it's gotten better too.
Awesome. That's what's up. That's
nice. I don't know if we're all great person. And it's just crazy how great I am. It's like sometimes it just blows my mind.
No shame at all.
Like yo,
since you're shamelessly plugging yourself, continue to plug yourself and tell people how they can follow you.
It's tough to admit it, but you gotta. When you see something this good, you gotta.
Oh, she is shameless. She is so shameless. Like you
tell people how to follow you.
She don't want to.
So you can follow me on Instagram at New American Politics and on Twitter at New American Politics.
New American Politics. Go follow our girl Julia Song. with the shamelessness, right? She knows she's great. She knows she's fine. She knows she's loved. She doesn't care what you think.
We'll put a link in the description below.
Thanks. We appreciate you coming and joining him.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Stay on. We're going to talk to you after this. I'm going to get off here with these people. Hey, everybody else, continue to fight for the Constitution with these, so that hopefully
and prayerfully
we never have to use these.
We don't want to do it. No, we don't want to do it.
Peace.
I definitely don't want to do that.
Stop the broadcast.